Number 42, we're told to factor the expression completely, and we've been given 9y minus 3x plus 3y squared minus xy. And as we've discussed in previous videos, there are two questions we always have to ask ourselves when we are factoring. Question number one, is there a GCF in your expression? If there is, you have to factor it out. And after you factored it out, or if there isn't one, you move on to question two, which is how many terms are there? Remember, if there are two terms, look for the difference of perfect squares. If there are three terms, you are either going to use the scissors method or the AC method, trial and error method. And if there are four terms like we have here in number 42, we're going to use the grouping method. And so with grouping method, we're going to go ahead and split this expression right down the middle. So we have two terms on the left, two terms on the right. And now what we do is we say, all right, just looking at these two terms on the left, is there a GCF? And yeah, it looks like there is. We can take out a 3 from these two terms here. And if we take out a 3, what are we going to be left with? Well, let's see. If we divide each of these two terms by 3, we can see that, well, 3 goes into itself once, 3 goes into 9 3 times. So we're left with 3y. Here, 3 goes into itself once, 3 goes into 3 once, so we're left with negative 1 times x, which is just negative x. And on the right-hand side, we'll do the same thing. We'll look for a GCF here. And it looks like the only thing that these two terms have in common is a y. And so let's go ahead and factor out a positive y. And when we take out that positive y, let's see what we're left with. Well, in this case, this 3 divided by, and don't forget there's a 1 in front of that y. Well, 3 divided by 1 is simply 3. And here we have y squared over y. Well, we're top heavy by 1, so that'll leave us with y, and now we're finished with that term. Here we have minus xy over y. Well, we can see that the y's cancel, which leaves us with just a minus x. And when you factor by grouping, don't forget what's inside your set of parentheses. What's left over has to be identical. It has to match perfectly. If it doesn't, you've done something wrong. So go back and check your factoring. In this case, however, our parentheses match. So we can go ahead, bring those, or rather that term down. And when we bring that 3y minus x down, the only thing we're left with now is 3 plus y. And so there we have it, number 42. Our factors are 3y minus x, 3 plus y, and of course, if we wanted to check ourselves, we could FOIL these binomials together, and we should wind up with what we started with originally, these four terms, and indeed we would. So there's number 42.